Oh, hey, y'all. What's going on? And welcome to season 2. Okay. And we're actually covering episodes 3 and 4 on this episode of Queen's Glean, the after conversation to King Speak. So stay tuned. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to this episode of Queen's Glean. This is the after conversation to King Speak. What does that mean? Well, on Tuesdays, we have gentlemen come in and talk about really important issues. So this time we have 2 episodes to cover, okay? Fred from Barbershop Conversations came in and talked all things King Level Boldness. No games, no jokes. So we got a couple of clips from that show to dive into. And then also we had Oshim Phoenix, the creator of the Rebel Camp and the Inner Warriorship program. He came in and talked about redefining self. And I thought both of those shows were so important to do, especially through the view of men and the masculine, because one, there's a leadership to that. And two, I just feel like even for me, that's kind of what season I'm in. Are y'all feeling that too? It's kind of like we went into this shift. It's a new year, of course. Sometimes it feels a little different, sometimes it doesn't. But to have the boldness to walk in the fullness of who you are without the outside distractions, without being oppressed by the things that scare us, okay? And then also having the power and the courage to redefine who we are is really important. Like, sometimes we get really caught up in being what other people say that we have to be, or we are very tribal people. So we're kind of following the crowd and doing what everybody's doing and staying in this little box of things. But it definitely takes boldness, and it takes a redefining of self to actually get where we're supposed to go. If we're going to walk in purpose, then we need to be in the fullness of who we are in order to get that done, right? So we have a few topics today. So we're talking the King Level Boldness. We're talking about redefining self and what that definition means to you. And vulnerability, okay? Like, it takes a vulnerability to be able to communicate with people in a certain way, but then also trust who you're communicating with. We're going to also cover letting go and how you differentiate wisdom and holding on to baggage. So I don't have my original crew today. You know, Keandra, she's usually here, Surrendered Sessions on Facebook. So maybe check that out. You can go to keandradoss.com as well. Then we have Queen Cookie. She's got some internet issues, so she's going to be on in a minute. But it's just going to be us tonight. So definitely want to jump in. I'm looking at the comments. I see y'all in here. Are y'all feeling like you want to redefine yourself? Are you feeling the need to get bold about how you're moving and what you're doing? Talk to me, especially because I'm waiting. I know y'all just don't want to hear me talk the whole time. One thing that I thought was actually, though, pretty interesting, and this will be the first topic that we cover when we talk about King Level Boldness, is Fred was talking about who our oppressors are in life. And so when he says oppressors, this is the first year he's kind of lived without oppressors in his life. You know, sometimes, like, let's say for us in the media, I know Hollywood has specific guidelines, or if you're in a specific field, the higher ups or the people before you kind of set out this structure that you're supposed to follow. And if you're to this or to that, you know, it doesn't work, and you're not being authentic to yourself because you're trying to stay in this bubble, in this box, so that way you can actually appease your oppressors. And I totally feel that when he said, you know, he used to work in he still works with the boxing. You know, I'm not really into boxing, but he be talking all the boxing stuff. And when you are interviewing and you're out there and you have to create these stories, you still have to be within the lines of things, because if you piss the wrong person off, you're going to end up on the sidelines. And so there's this stress and this pressure to be a certain way. And it made me think about what oppressors are in my life. Oshim Phoenix kind of touched on it in the same way that sometimes our oppressors are our social circle. If the people that we're around are so busy conforming to one thing, then we kind of feel like we have to be in that one thing and that one space. But what if we have other colors? What if we have other energy and other things that we want to do and share? How can we invite that in without feeling some kind of way? Well, you need to be bold and you need to be clear and anchored about who you are. So I know I'm in that space of redefining self again. You know, every few years, it's probably time to do an upgrade and see where you're at and what you're about. You know, what you used to subscribe to may not be what you're subscribing to now. And that's okay. We're allowed to change, shift, grow, change our minds, get into different things. And we should never allow anything to make us so scared that we don't do that. So I think I might jump into the first clip. I'm a queen. I can glean. I can pick up what the brothers put down. You know, hopefully Queen Cookie makes it in. That'd be good. But, you know, internet issues and whatever. I feel like there's always one on Queen's Glean. There's always one moment where it's like, this didn't work or this is not whatever. So I see y'all in here. Thanks for hanging with me. I don't see any of you guys in the chat, but yeah, I guess I'll, you know. Should I dive in? Give me a thumbs up. Give me something. Let me know that you hear me talking. I'm not just shouting into the ethers. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, good thing I do this for a living. I can hold it down, right? So I'm low-key thinking I might get into this clip because I'm not sure what else to talk about. I didn't plan to just be hanging out solo. I don't want to, I was going to tell you guys something about what I did today, but I don't know if I'm ready to share that yet. So I might not talk about that just to pass the time. Okay, we're going to go into this first clip. We're going to let it play. Maybe Cookie will come in, but we're going to watch and we're going to talk about it. So this was from Fred from Barbershop Conversations, and he talked King Level Boldness. So if you guys didn't see that episode, you should definitely go and watch it because he dropped so much gems and he's just really bold. I knew he was the right person to talk to. So let's just get into this first clip. Why don't we? All right, here we go.
People walk around fear of that. That's why we get high. That's why we get smoked. That's why we use church. We use our job. So these are all these things that we use as crutches. And the term I used was I walked into 2021 with no oppressors in my life. And this is the first year of my life where I can honestly say, Jay, I have no oppressors in my life. None, zero, zilch. Like the last oppressor I had was in boxing because I had to tailor to these egos. I had to tailor to these multi-million-dollar athletes and these promoters and these managers. And so I had to dance. I had to dance a little bit to, and but more importantly, and sadly, I was dancing to their song, you know, and yeah. And so I realized that. So this year during quarantine, I said, you know what? Fuck this, Jay.
August. I saw you.
Yeah, April 1st.
I was like, that's bold.
I was like, fuck y'all. I don't want nothing from you. And I said, I'm just going to trust the fact that I can get it done. And
yes. Hey, girl.
Oh my goodness.
We came back from the clip and got Queen Cookie in the building. What's up, girl?
Oh my goodness. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. My internet was like, no, sis, no. Mm-mm.
Girl, I was sitting here. I was like, and we're gonna talk about this, and it's all good. It's just stop the show.
It's all good.
Today, it's just us.
Really? Oh my goodness. Well, I'm happy to be here. Happy I finally made it. Oh my goodness.
I love it. Well, were you able to catch the clip? I feel like you got in mid, but you got the point. Yeah.
I got in halfway.
Okay, yeah. Should I run it again or what do you think?
Well, what's the question? I think we could just go in.
Okay, so basically, Fred was talking about how he doesn't have oppressors in his life this year. And you know what that means actually coming from Hollywood and what we have to do. It's like, if you say the wrong thing or if you don't cover a story the right way or this or that, you know, the powers that be ready to shut it down. And so, or, you know, you get, I don't know, it always just feels like you have to dance in this little box. So he was kind of feeling the same thing. And so my question was just, are we dancing to other people's song or rhythm or our own? And how are we really checking ourselves to make sure that we're being authentic, especially with everything going
Mhm.
on?
Yeah, I think COVID changed a lot of things
Yeah.
for sure, because I think before, like pre-COVID, they're calling it like BC, before COVID now, right? Like this is our before Christ moment. So before COVID, I think, yeah, we were definitely dancing to somebody else's drum. But now with everybody being locked in, the age of technology and social media, and not having to answer to anybody now, it kind of gives us all that freedom to be who we really are and make our own money. And it's not somebody, and I don't want to say the white man, because it's not always a white man, but the oppressor is, it might look like you now, or you might be a boss in the future now, because things change. 2020 changed the game for everybody. And so, those who were the oppressors might now be the oppressed, because you got these up and coming people that are sitting at home during coronavirus, creating, putting things out in the universe that are gonna like spark and take off, and people are making their own money now. They don't need to go to those 9 to 5s anymore. And so, yeah, it's just, the game is changing. The game is changing all the way.
Correct. Well said. And I love it because I've always been somebody to be against the grain. I can't wait to get out the box. I'd be like,
Yeah.
box where? What? I put me in a box just so I can break one side down, put holes in the other side, color on the, like I've always had that energy. But he also mentioned some of the oppressors in our life, and you almost said it yourself, like you'll end up being, you could be one yourself. But sometimes it's like smoking, drinking, and all the things that we do to distract ourselves from our own rhythm, because we haven't been trained or raised to live free, to be honest.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't really drink anymore, but I remember a time when I felt like I had to come home and like drink a glass of wine every night. Like I felt like I needed it and I couldn't without it. I could say the same for like smoking a joint, oh, I can't calm down, but like, let me smoke this joint over here. Oh, now I feel good. And then not being able to do that without that, and so, yeah, then you become oppressed to that. So, yeah, there's a bunch of oppressions in our lives. It could be food. It could be, any type of addiction, anything that's holding you under its thumb is an oppressor. And so, you have to find those things in your lives. It could be a person,
Hello.
And so your lover, your friends, you have to recognize them and understand how to stop that. That's the hard part. That's the hard part, is even because you can recognize it, you can know all your oppressions and all your oppressors, but you still have them, so it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's a slippery slope for sure.
And then sometimes I call it season. Sometimes I'm like, well, this is just what season it is. Like, this is what I need right now. But you're right. Like, we can identify it and still be like, give me the drink or whatever it's going to be. But
it's just this one time, or
it's just a glass.
We make excuses for, yeah, exactly.
But now I'm seeing, too, it's so much more important to get to the why, to the root of why I feel like I need this or that, whether it be a 9-to-5 job, I need to remain under the thumb of somebody that I'm not happy with, or under the guise of, libations or whatever it's going to be to function. And I think that's the part of the work that becomes challenging to do, especially if you're not willing to face it. If you need to smoke to calm down or drink to just wind down, then there's just something you're not willing to face at the moment. And that's okay, because sometimes, like I said, that's the season, but you got to get to the point where you're like.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, once you recognize it, then it's up to you to change it, right? Or else you're just in a cycle. And, I think it's when you break out of that cycle is when you really start to see that person that you really want to be is that stupid ass cliche. The person you want to be is on the other side of your comfort zone. Well, your comfort zone are those goddamn oppressions or those oppressors. Those make you feel good. Those are your comfort zone, your comfort foods, your comfort wines, your comfort drugs, like whatever you want to do, your comfort dick.
Yep.
You know, all of those things are your comfort zone. And in order to get out of that, you have to break those chains. And oh, they're so thick. They're so thick. It was actually broken down into the Rebel Camp, because I know we're going to be talking about Rebel Camp tonight.
Yes.
I watched this thing about your mind, and I'm not even going to be like super the words he used, but one of the guys broke down like there's these chords in your brain that are your addiction chords, and they're super thick, and so they're really hard to break them down. And that was like really deep. I'm like, oh, no wonder it's so hard for people to break addiction. Those chords in your brain are really thick. And so, you know, you have to really just go in and really change that paradigm again to, you know, shift those chords in your brain. So it goes super deep into science. And that's why it's so crazy when people try to separate science from religion and from everything. I'm like, no, actually the two go hand in hand. You know, you can try to separate them all you want, but they correlate, you know. So it's interesting to see when a doctor or a metaphysicist or someone breaks it down, and you're like, damn, that's the same thing preacher was saying last Saturday. You know, so you know, it's the same thing. Y'all just gotta stop worried about how it's said or what box it comes in, and stop tripping off of who, you know, stop. Y'all worried about the wrong stuff, you know, instead of the message.
Yeah. No, it's very true. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I love studying science. Science helps me understand the Bible. I mean, when you tell me something like ask and it is given, I'm like, okay, like what else? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like now when you tell me how all of the molecules and everything that what we see is made up of moves this way because of this and because of that, now you're giving me more layers and depths to really be like, asking it is given. God, I can trust you because I know what part I play in it.
I trust you even more now because I understand it, you know. And then it's like and then you really start feeling powerful because you're like, oh, I understand this shit, yeah. Like,
man.
And then you're like, oh God, he was really trying to send me them signs. And I wasn't getting it, but now I'm getting it, you know. And then when you start getting it, you're like, I fucking get it.
It feels so good too. Even you talking about the addiction chords, you know, what comes to mind is like, if you are addicted to something and it is hard for you to get out of it, at least you knowing that scientific part about things, instead of feeling shame and guilt for you being so challenged, there's nothing wrong with you. It's a challenging thing. It's not something is wrong with you. That's why I can't break the addiction.
It's something that it's been building up inside so long that it's thick. Like imagine like any type of film or foam, you know, on a window that's been sitting on a car for like 30 years, like a 1970 car. That shit is thick, right?
Yeah.
Same. If you've been in this cycle for years, that's that thickness, you know, and you got to chop it down. And sometimes that's a lot of chiseling. It don't take like one chisel. You got to keep chisel. And yeah, when I heard that too, I was like, oh, I bet you got a lot of thick cords up there.
For real.
A few cords up there that are thick as hell, you know, because I've been dealing with these for a lot of years. And so, but yeah, it resonated with me too. I was like, okay, I got a thick cord. What do I do with this thick cord? What do I do with it? And recognizing the thickness and the depth of it. And that's what it's going to take for me to get rid of it. How far in do I want to go? How far deep do I want to go in the thickness of that cord to bust it or break it or whatever? But it's the same with relationships. When you've been with somebody for 11 years, imagine that cord. Whoo, 11 years of thickness.
That's so, oh my gosh. It's a lot, and that's such a good thing to recognize. I promise
And
you.
sometimes it's like multiple cords in one cord, like
in one cord. Now that makes sense.
got kids, houses, cars, everything, all in the divorce.
Time, trauma. Yeah, exactly.
You know? So when you're in the courthouse screaming and yelling at the judge, you're wondering why you so mad. The cord is thick as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Seriously. Girl, that was like a whole word. And so I'm hoping people, and it gives you too the patience. It's like, all right, if I can go into this thing knowing how heavy it is, I might have a little more patience with myself. Like, all right, girl, like you might be amazing. You could bust it down and everything, but give yourself the patience and time to kind of chip away at this thing.
Yeah.
So being that with Fred, we were talking King Level Boldness. He's so bold, girl. He don't care about nothing. He's like, I'm doing me. Okay.
Hey, Fred.
Yeah. Barbershop Conversations. You
What up, King Fred?
Yes. Other question was, are we committed to the truth of ourselves?
Sometimes, no.
Low key, sometimes. I know that is something that I've been thinking
I think that's seasonal for me. At least I know for sure. I have my seasons where I'm motivated as hell. I'm living my best life. I'm motivated as hell. And there's my seasons when I go in hibernation mode and you won't see me or you won't hear from me. I'm dead. I just
yeah.
And so, yeah, maybe in those moments, I'm not committed to myself. No, I don't know. But I definitely understand that your life has to be a working commitment. Something that 2020 taught me. It's like you have to keep evolving. You have to keep, doing the work. I hate that term.
But it is what it is.
It is because it's so... It's another cord. The work is a cord, thick ass cord, and you're just always, you have to keep doing it because you're always evolving as a person. So your cord is evolving. Like your what do they call this cord right here?
Spinal
cord. It's like your spinal cord. Imagine how that's evolving throughout your years, and as you're evolving your cord, you have to keep going back and doing that work and making sure your cord is aligning with you, your chakras, everything's aligning, your cord, everything. So it all ties to each other. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, no, it's true, and it does take work. It takes a lot of daily effort. I mean, simply because too, I'm kind of like you, like I'm definitely committed to the truth of myself. I've known me a long time. Okay. I know what I like, what I'm not finna, and it changes and it shifts. But at the same time, like sometimes I get knocked off my square. Sometimes I get unsure, or sometimes I experience something that makes me question me. But at the end of all the work, I still feel like what I'm coming to, it's not that I can't learn. It's not that I can't open myself up to new ideas and modalities and, ways of feeding myself and, ideas. But at the same time, at the end of the day, like, I got to stay true to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people, think I'm arrogant for staying true to me, or just feel very misunderstood. But it's just like, after I come out of the digging and the asking and the wondering, it's like, oh, I was there all along. So I feel like I have to make sure not to allow the storms and the winds and the opinions and the traumas and the whatever else knock me so off my square that I'm questioning me. Because anytime I'm questioning me, the boat is really rocking at that point. And like, now something's about to get tossed off because I didn't give myself the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I hope you got your life jacket on, girl, because when the boat is rocking and shaking, you got to be ready to be tossed in the water. You got to be ready to be tossed in the water because life does that to you. It just throws your ass in the water when you ain't ready. And them waves are unforgiving. You might even choke on some salt water and some more. But when you come up out of that I'm saved. Like, it's revitalizing. And you're like, oh, yeah, I just went through that storm. Gummy. Right. And you're like, What storm? Was I just choking on some water? It's almost like you didn't even remember the shit. It's
It's
insane.
true.
And you're like, when you're in the middle of it, you think you're going to die. And then when you're out of it, you're like, oh, wait, it was just that little storm right there? Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it all comes down to self and just that knowing. So speaking of self, okay, I had to do Redefining Self with Oshim Phoenix because he has done such a great job doing that. I've known him for over 10 years now. So I feel like I've had some kind of a front row seat. We don't talk every single day or anything like that, but some kind of a front row seat.
She like, I knew you.
And so now it's a front seat to just kind of like see like, oh, yo, no, you really changed this thing. And now you're bringing other people along with you. And I love it. He's always had that ability. He's been powerful, but the redefining, I'm in that space right now because I can always feel within me when things are changing and it starts to get dark. And I don't mean dark like, it's just so dark, but it's like, oh, okay, wait, I can't see anything. Get quiet, one step at a time, and go slow because you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
You don't.
So
that's
I'm
the
in that
scary
space.
part too.
Oh
like
my God!
No. I mean, I wake up every morning like scared as hell. Like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? I feel like you too. Like I'm in that space too. I'm like, I'm flowing and I'm letting things just be. And when you're in a space of flow, oh, that's a scary place to be because you don't know. I mean, we never knew before what was going to happen next, but we were planners and like, oh, and this and this and this. But when you come from a space of just letting go and let God, as people would say,
yeah, absolutely,
that's a scary place to be. We want to be in control. We want to say, no, next Tuesday, I'm going to be here, and here. And God says, no, next Tuesday, you're actually going to be here, and here. And so when you come in that middle space of being like, I don't know what I'm going to do next Tuesday, that's scary.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
And it's about to be great because God got me.
Period. And you know what? It's kind of like what we're just talking about with waves being unsure. Even, I used to live in Hawaii and then, the surfers, like you see those big waves, but everybody that's riding the wave knows you don't fight the waves. If you fight the waves, you could break bones or die. You surrender. So I'm in a very surrendered place. I'm holding on to what I do know, but I'm intentionally practicing surrender in a way where I'm almost allowing myself to be childlike. Like anytime I have a feeling, it's like, I don't know what to do with this. God help me. Like I'd rather I'm not going to be, I don't know it all, So let's dive into what redefining self means to Oshim, and then we'll talk about it. But in your words, what does redefining mean to you?
It means freedom. It means freedom to be whoever I want to be in this lifetime because I'm the one that has to carry it. It means not being chained down to a system, not being a slave to this matrix. It means playfulness to me. It means wonderment. It means, and it for me, it's also understanding that we change as people. We technically change. Scientifically, there's a study that we change every 7 years. So I can almost guarantee you what you like 7 years ago, you probably have had a taste for something else, right? So it's just me being flowing with the current of my life, because that current changes. And I'm all for redefining yourself, especially if you're feeling empty inside, if you don't have any motivation, you don't have any drive, redefine yourself. I don't want to go ahead because I know you have some questions. But for me, it is absolute freedom, absolute liberation from a system that says you have to be a certain way. And I think our generation and the generation behind us, we have been tasked with the job of redefining what it means to be free. I mean, look what's happening in the world right now.
Man. I was so like, yes.
Yeah. always dropping gems.
Always. And so my question to you is, what's one of your indicators that you know it's time for an upgrade or a redefinition? Do you have any indicators that stick out to you?
Yeah, when my battery's dead. I know we talked about this on another show, but
yes,
when I feel low, when I feel like I have nothing else going for me or going on inside of me, I have no energy, I know that's because the game is about to change again, because I feel like, just to put it in a godly perspective, God's about to clean the slate and start over. And that might be a job shift, a change in employment, change in relationship, a loss, death, any of those things. Those are all indicators that change is coming. It's usually something that hurts. That's what I've found. It's usually attached to pain. And I don't know if it's because we're so attached to things that when something's taken from us, we're like, no, wait. Or if it's just that removal of comfort, and being in that comfort zone that we were talking about earlier. But yeah, those are all indicators for me that like something's about to, the shift is about to happen.
Yeah, I mean, very well said. And for me, I can always feel it because usually I can't sleep at night, and I don't sleep anyway. I don't know what the deal is. I just be up. But when I really can't sleep and I feel, it's almost like I need to I feel very constricted. Like I need to breathe. Like I need to get out of myself, and then I'll get tested. And the tests are so like, this isn't even normal. Like, what is this? I don't ever have these kinds of conversations. I don't ever hear this this is wild. What is going on? And that is my indicator. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Hold on, girl.
That's how you know it's for you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about to, you need to change your ear. God has really sharpened my ear in the past 2 weeks. And I don't know all for why yet, and I haven't even really had a chance to process or talk about it, but I can tell my hearing has been sharpened. And it's all, how do I say? I can definitely, it's all about hearing. The lesson of hearing and listening is, coming in a very specific pace. And I know that the lesson doesn't stop there, but that is such a huge lesson that I'm like, all right, let me look at everything. Let me get in these cracks and corners. Let me see who I've been in situations and how I show up. How do I tailor, my voice and, what are all the things, especially because I do a job like this. It's like, okay, help me then. What am I really hearing? What am I listening? How do I really, It's just a lot. It's very interesting, but it is loud.
Yeah. I mean, all of that for me, you being a host and you saying that your ear game is getting better. I mean, that just means you're going to the next level, because I think so many hosts don't listen to their guests. They're waiting to ask their next question. And a good host will leave all their questions on the damn paper if that's not where the conversation was going. But not everybody can do that. Not everybody can shift and move like that. Some people can only stick to the paper, and so I don't know what that means for you, but that was just like the download that I got. I was like, I received that. The fact that you're able to listen so quickly and then just be able to adjust in that moment and shift in that moment. Like I said, a good host can do that. Not everybody's built like that. And it's not a bad thing if you stick to your cue cards. I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but I'm just saying that it's a gift to be able to listen, to be able to pick up on cue words and things that your guests are saying, and shift the conversation if that's where it's calling you guys to go. Because sometimes it's calling you guys to go somewhere that you never even imagined, and you have to be ready for that and listen.
It's very true. And I received that. I'm gonna sit on that one. I'm gonna sit on that tonight, because where I was seeing it is in like personal relationships. And I'm really, seeing how, you know, those times where you're having two different conversations and you're like, what the? Or you'll say something and somebody respond and you're like, where did that come from? Like me, I can get real defensive because I already feel misunderstood as it is. But now you know, this is all coming. So I'm just like, how can I hear in a way where, okay, even though they're really not responding to what I said, who can I be in the response that does not clash the clash?
Yeah. I feel like when someone gets to that level of maturity, because that's the only word that comes to my mouth right now, to be able to, especially in a heated conversation, and when you are tested with something, and to be able to respond with love in every situation, I feel like you're in a good space, because that's hard to do, especially when someone you love is testing you, to respond with love. What?
Girl,
it's in the face right now, you know. But to respond with love, like, oh, that's
really got to put yourself aside to do that, and you got to remain
come outside of yourself. And
correct.
Not a lot of people can do it. I still can't do it. I still find myself deleting text message because I already fired. You know, I was about to fire it off. I was about to hit that send, and I had to go. Let me just delete. Let me set my phone down for 5 minutes because I'm about to break somebody's soul right now. Let me not break somebody's soul with these words. You can't take them back afterwards. You know,
correct.
And so just learning that discernment of being able to step back and say, okay, what am I missing here? Because they're seeing this completely wrong, or you're seeing this completely wrong, or maybe both of you are seeing this completely wrong. And, being able to respond like that. I haven't found the answer to that yet, but I know that that's where it's at,
right.
Is being able to respond with love. That's the only response ever.
Well, you were right about the waiting, because that's one of the things I've actually been studying this, and in the redefinition of self, for me, it's about integrating these lessons. So I need to, it's one thing to know, but I'm like, okay, now I'm on mad alert. Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Now I know I'm gonna get another test, and I'm gonna want to continue to pass. But it's also one thing that I learned is refraining from attaching to other people's ideas and this and that. Just because somebody says something to you, you don't have to hold on to it and take it and make it personal.
Yeah. And we do so much.
But we do. We
do all the time. I do it all the time. And Jaimi, I could tell you something that a girl told me in high school about my hair or about my clothes or something, and believe the BITCH, and had that be traumatic for me for years because a girl told me something and I believed her. And how sad to know that she was saying that in hate. And it pierced me so hard that it caused this ripple effect for me to be not who I was for so many years, because a girl told me my hair was poofy or too poofy or something like that. And I didn't know. I hated my hair.
And I love your hair. Beautiful.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. You can attach something that somebody said to you that had nothing to do with her. It had everything to do with the hate of the beauty of my hair, but she made me hate myself.
Or the love that she's not getting. And so I'm not getting love, so I'm going to make everybody else hate, because I'm, sometimes when people are powerless in other situations, they bring it to your front door. But the bottom line is the only way we can respond in love is if we're detached from the idea, because that's the only way love flows in. I need to hear from God in those moments, and God can't come when I'm trying to defend myself.
Yeah.
No,
Or you
that's
were
too aggressive.
defenseless. Or when you're defenseless, because somebody like me who's just a nice, sweet, innocent girl, I was defenseless to her criticism. And so it just seeped right into my soul
Correct.
because, I was just light at the time, just this innocent little girl going to school. And you attacked me for no reason, and this happens every day.
It
People
does.
attack people every day for no reason. And then what she did to me was she dimmed my light, and then all
And
these
nobody
things
should have
happen
that power.
throughout life. Your light dims and dims and dims and dims and dims until one day either you let it go all the way the hell out or you fight to break out and you get your light. I heard you. I know you might even be playing this. You guys talking about the what's it called? The when you go to the dark night of the soul.
Oh, the dark night of
And
the soul.
I feel like you're trying to find your light, is going through that. It's like all that darkness that people have had of you, all those traumas, all that luggage, all that darkness is over your light, and you're like, let me out, let me out, like, let me out. Let me out. I just want to shine. Like, I just want to shine.
And I want to shine.
And y'all are not letting me be great. Yes. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I equate it. But we tie things to us that are not even about us. I've tied trauma to me that's not even about me. My best friend going through something, I tie her trauma to me. Like, why? Like, why do we do this to ourselves? I'm mad at her, man, because he's over here hurting my friend. I'm like, how dare you hurt my friend? I'm over here tying this trauma to me. Like,
right, and just mad.
So now that's a trigger for me now. Because my girl, her boyfriend did that too. Like, girl, please. That life. Stop tying trauma to yourself. Like,
Correct. And we do it all the time. So it's just one of those weird things, it's so true. Gosh, I don't know. Yeah, the dark night of the soul, it is that thing where you're so buried in all the crap that your light is just screaming to get out, but you don't even know how to navigate to get out from under there. But especially when the ego is involved. The ego thinks it's protecting you. And Oshim talked about that. The ego was doing a bad job of protecting him. And that's what it is. You think you're doing the right thing. You need to be right. You're protecting. And that energy just does not allow the true you to shine. So I am in that space. That is one place where I found like my ego. It's like, slow down, girl. You don't need to defend yourself. For what? What are you defending against? You don't have to hop into every car that drives by on the freeway. Relax. If they don't believe or they didn't hear something today, you're going to have to let that go. So finding the part of self that needs people to understand or to know this about you and blah, blah, blah. I think that's part in my redefinition of self. That's part of what I'm letting go. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
You're just going to have to, okay, I'm going to just have to let you can have that one. No big deal. Doesn't hurt me any,
Yeah, because there's definitely the part of the ego that we need, right? It's the part that gets Jaimi on Queen's Glean and King Speak. She needs the ego. That's what gets Jaimi on King Speak and Queen Speak. That's ego speaking. But that Jaimi can't always speak. And that's the same as me. When I get on and I'm Cookie can't always speak. Sometimes Erica needs to come to the table.
Right.
And deciphering the two.
Yeah.
And that's where I've always went wrong. Is I'll bring Cookie out in a minute. Like, try me. Because Cookie protects Erica. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's my shell. It's my protection. So when people try me, Cookie comes running, the ego comes running like, Erica, no, don't touch her.
Yeah.
Erica.
Yeah, that's
and then I come out like,
hi guys.
Get him, bitch. Like, right. Yeah. But then that hardened Erica too.
Correct.
That hardened me because I was like, yeah. Fuck with me, Cookie gonna come out. And then it just made me hard. It just made me hard. And I'm like, okay, well, when is Erica gonna come out to the fight? When is Erica gonna show up to the argument? When is Erica gonna come, to the table? And so I don't know. I'll let you know when that happens.
Well, we on the same page, girl.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know what Erica says.
Because I be warning people about I be warning people about the other side of this Gemini. Like, don't let this little
you're the twin. The twin. I mean, your sign says it all. You don't even need an alter ego. You got the twin sign.
That girl flips, and it's like, who was that? She's mean. Ugh.
Oh, that's just my other side.
I just want to integrate, man. I'm just trying to crystallize over here. Yeah. So one thing I had in this segment with the question is, it takes boldness and freedom, obviously, to redefine yourself or to even have the audacity to do so. But what ideas can we release that keeps us from being bold and our own version of free?
So mine was kind of deep. A lot of mine was just guilt and shame because a lot of it was, I can't be authentic because I messed up a long time ago. So if I come to the table now, will people receive me like this? Because they might think I'm still that same girl from around the way, but I've changed. But, and I'm sure we're going to get to this question too, because I know you guys spoke to this about what other people have to say about your redefining yourself. But for me, it was like, okay, I was that person. There's guilt and shame behind the decisions that person made.
Right.
And now when I show up, am I going to be received well? Am I going to be criticized and judged for those decisions that I made back then? Will I have to answer for this? And those old things made me not even want to come to the table.
Wow.
Girl. Because I'm like, damn, now I'm all up in my head and thinking and shit. Now I don't want to come out to the table because I done thought myself into the hole again.
And that is so real. Like, I have definitely felt like that. Like, and I think a lot of people go through that. Oh, I did this, that, and the other in the past. So the guilt.
I'm not worthy.
I'm not worthy of showing up to be, Queen Cookie done spazzed out. Now Erica want to say something. And does Erica have the right to come out when Queen Cookie just,
Right.
So
when Queen Cookie showed her ass. Yeah.
I was like, yes.
Queen Cookie showed out. Now Erica trying to come apologize. Or be like, my bad.
Girl, we all go through it, and that is such a good point. And I think mine, that keeps me from being our own version of free is being misunderstood and being liked. I have
to be liked though.
No, it's not that I have to be liked, but it's just that I never want to make people feel a certain way. But I'm learning how to, but that's where being misunderstood comes in. Cause I can be like, I have more, I'm more than one side. We're all very nuanced people. So it's like, if I come out my face with this in 1 minute and this and what, like, can I just be accepted without having to explain myself and my ideas or blah, blah, blah. It's really about being misunderstood. So sometimes I know that I'm tailoring my ideas and conversations to just fit in the package that people can get. Because if I go over here with the way my brain really works, you might get a little too confused, and it bothers me to have to explain myself for some reason. I feel like, I don't know, it makes me feel some kind of way. So that's something I'm working on too. Like, I need to be my own version of free, and that looks different, but that's also what makes me me. So relax.
And that's also what makes people love you. I think that if we look at people that I idolize, and I don't even like to use that word, but people that we love, celebrities, artists, authors that we follow, whoever, when we look at them, it's the quirks, it's the weirdness, it's the differentness about them that really attracts us to them, because we're like, oh, they're like me. Oh, there's something inside of them that, I could be her homegirl. I could hang out with her.
Yes.
Oh, you do that too? Oh, you eat your Cheetos with mayonnaise too? Or like, you find your tribe. You end up finding your tribe through your weirdness and through your quirks and so how you innately it ends up coming out of you because that's what you search for in the world. So it's like, why are we trying to hide that? You know, why do we care if we eat hot Cheetos with mayonnaise? Like, you know, because is it because X85555 on Instagram says, ew, that's nasty. That's
Okay,
why
well,
we
I'll
don't
be
do
that.
it.
Right.
Because social media and, you know, these platforms give people these opportunities to make you feel bad. These people can just come in and say whatever they want, and then, like we were talking about earlier, you attach these things to yourself, and you digest them as your truth. So maybe you put a video out, and someone says something negative in your comments. You're like, damn, I'm not putting no more videos out.
Right.
Because one person out of like 13 billion people in this world says has something to say. I bet you if you went on their page, you could go ham too. So it's just kind of like getting out of our heads and understanding once again where that's coming from, where they're coming from, and back to leading with love, you know.
Correct.
And in your authentic self, you shouldn't give a shit what anybody says, because if they do come with that fire or that heat or that hate, you're going to come with love. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And back to if we get to that place, I think, you know, you think Oprah gives a shit about anybody says about her? No. And you think she didn't have people calling her N-word, monkey, all this stuff, but you think she didn't care? No. Right. She might have cared, but she didn't show it.
She kept it pushing because love wins. And I think Oshim, on the top of his thing, he was like, you know, redefining myself and what it means to me, because I have to carry this. Like, I have to live my life. I'm the one who has to live with me every single day. So yeah, again, why do you care? So I'm just into it. I'm really liking the way it feels. And I know that so much of it comes with maturity, because you have to learn, like, just like learning to swim, and, you know, water and waves and floating and surrender has kind of been the theme of these conversations. And it's like, after a while, like, oh, I'm gonna get the hang of this thing. I've been tossed off the boat so many times. I'm good. I got this. I know how to swim to shore. There's an island over there. There's a boat. I know how to float, eat fish. Like, I'm out here. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And, you know, that's even what you were talking about right now, is just being able to find that, what that means for you, because everybody's being tossed in water will be different for everybody. Some will swim beautifully. Some are going to sink. Some are going to, you know, do all these things, but everybody's journey is different. That's why we have to stop freaking comparing ourselves to everybody's journey. Like Oshim said, he has to walk in his own shoes. What the hell do you care about what this man wants to call himself if he has the one who has to walk in the store and say, my name is Oshim Phoenix? If that man wants to walk in the store and say, my name is Oshim Phoenix, and goddamn it, let that man walk in the store and say, his name is Oshim Phoenix. No. How does that bother you? So it's crazy when people were pissed off that he changed his name. It's like, for what?
Because they want you to be the same. They want you to be familiar. They want you to be comfortable.
They want you to be in their world, and you're not in their world. You're in yours. And so, you know, that's one thing I do admire about him, is that he really be in his world.
I love
it. I admire that so heavy, because it's so hard for men to come to the table and be in their feelings. And like, I've had the opportunity inside the rebel camp to see him be in his feelings. And it was like, oh my God, men can be vulnerable. Men can talk about their pain. Men can say they hurt. What? Like, you know, and just seeing the other men inside the rebel camp talking about those things, it gives me hope for men. And, you know, I'm like, there's some really decent men out here really doing this work and really trying to make themselves better and teaching their sons and teaching their brothers. And I think that that's just like so freaking amazing. And yeah, you know, like I said, nobody has to walk in Queen Cookie shoes, Erica's shoes, my shoes. And this is something I have to always keep telling myself too, because I do the same thing, Jaimi. I question myself, like, why can't I show up as my authentic self?
Right.
What are people going to say? I was always like, oh, what's my family going to say? Is my mama going to say something? And then, you know, I have to start thinking like, it's me. Like, I love my mama to death, but she don't have to walk in my shoes. She don't pay my bills, and she don't have to live my life. She's not even in the same city as me. Why am I worried about what she's gonna say? You know, and so you're like, you so worried about elements outside of you that don't even exist.
It doesn't exist. That's the thing.
They exist in our mind only. Sometimes we make up shit that ain't even there. You ever been dealing with a man?
Ego.
You ever been dealing with a man and he didn't call you or text you, so you make up a whole freaking story about why he ain't called you?
I had to stop doing that. I had to stop.
Oh, he must be at the store. Oh, he must be at the gym. Oh, he must be driving home right now because he still ain't text me. Oh, but I saw him on Instagram. God damn it! Like, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, you end up making these damn stories up. And when what happens when you call boo thing? Fall asleep.
And you know what? That comes with the
whole energy worked up. You all pissed off, pacing back and forth in the house. This whole time he's sleeping like a baby, not even thinking about you. You wasted all this energy.
All of this energy. But that goes back to the like responding in love. And even with that, I've gotten far better, thank God, because I definitely used to be that. And of course, it's trauma, mistrust, and all that stuff that's piled on top of it. But at the end of the day, I love me more now. I'm not going to put myself through that. And love says, let that man do what he's doing right now.
Let that man
Let
sleep.
him be. Let him be. He's a human. He could do whatever he wants.
Right.
Let him do whatever he wants.
Right.
Do you
Can't
really
control
love
him
him?
anyways.
Let him do what he wants.
Oh, yeah. Because they're going to do what they want anyways.
They're going to do what they want. Let them do what they want. I want people to let me do what I want. I know that I'm not, you know, but I don't want you down my throat. So let people be. That's what I'd be telling myself. I'd be like, it doesn't matter. He could be at the store. What are you even thinking about it for?
Yep. Let people
Find yourself something to do.
Let them change their hair. Let them change their names. Let them wear dresses and skirts and all that stuff they want to wear. Let them wear it.
Let people be. Like, that's the real love. And that's what you want too. So be the change you want to see in the world.
Okay, Gandhi.
Right. Oh my Gandhi. Okay, so since we were talking about vulnerability, I have this clip from Fred. So let's see what he's talking about because he's bold. This is from the King Level Boldness episode. Play vulnerability, especially when the risk of rejection is on the table.
I'm 100% vulnerable. I don't give a damn. Like I don't give a. I cry on my podcast. Hey, Fred, about to cry. You know, I don't give a. I cry in front of 1,000 men every night, 2,000 men every night. I don't care.
Right.
Your interpretation is your interpretation. Sometimes crying makes me stronger. Sometimes crying is me throwing up my alcohol from last night. Sometimes crying is the pain from the tendonitis in my shoulders from working out. Sometimes crying is me mourning a death in my family. Sometimes is mourning. Sometimes crying is mourning. Whatever it is, I don't give a damn about. I don't care how you interpret me.
And I love the attitude because why should you?
Mm-hmm. You shouldn't. But and that was just so powerful too because men are always taught not to cry.
Correct.
And so, you know, there's actually like. And I used to think that there was a line between like a man who did cry and a man who cried too much. But now I don't think that anymore. And I'm sad if I ever made a man feel like he was expressing his feelings too much. And maybe I shut him down, like, stop being a little bitch.
Right. But we were trained that way too.
I was trained that way too. Like, what the fuck you crying for? You know, why are you crying? You're supposed to be strong. And, shame on me. And, I will never do that again, especially when a man is trying to be vulnerable and express himself. Don't be fake about it. But when you're being vulnerable and expressing yourselves, I love it. And I now that I understand what that means, I cherish those moments when you see men cry, because you really see emotion flowing out of them, and it's real and it's just so authentic. Or when you just see a man like do that, like cry, oh, that like breaks my heart. 'Cause I'm like, you just feel their pain, like just built up. So to see that this man is vulnerable enough to cry in front of his brothers and other men, that's what helps other men come out of their shell and being like, oh, well, if he's crying, I could cry too. But it also takes the women around them allowing to shut it down. I've been that woman, I know, so
Right.
I'm trying to change my mind and my ways too, and allowing men to express their feelings and their emotion, because it's important.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I know we have the capacity to hold space for men to, but yeah, we too have to shed some of those layers of programming that say men can't cry or this is too much and da da da. And I always say the fine line is, we're not your therapist, right? There's some stuff that you really have to take to a professional, just because I'm not going to be able to, but you can definitely still show up and have plenty of space. So my question to you is, and this is also a question I have that I'm working through, is how do you know who to be vulnerable with? Because that does take discernment as well.
Oh yeah, not everybody needs to see every side of you. And that's a privilege and an honor that I feel few people will ever get to know. It's almost like I feel like I'm a mini marriage. You ever feel like when you've had a long time friend or a long time lover, just someone's been in your life for a long time and then they go away, it hurts very badly because of all, what we were talking about earlier, all those ties. And so I feel like that was vulnerability. Those were people you trusted. These were people that you gave yourself to. So when that leaves you, that's energy losing. And so for me, how do I know when to be vulnerable? It's definitely a comfort level. It's a feeling for me.
It's a feeling.
If I
like
feel like I can be my dorky ass quirky self with you, if I feel like I can be a nerd around you or be like, my goofy ass self, and you're not going to judge me, then maybe you'll see Erica, and very few people on this earth have had the opportunity and the pleasure to meet Erica. And so, if you've had that experience, like, you blessed, because I don't show myself to everybody. And most people who have met me in my life have met Cookie, and they will always see that side of me. That's who I show up as. That's who I bring to the world. But, like I said, if I trust and I feel a connection with you, or if we interact on a deeper level, maybe outside of the norm, then people will get to see me on a different level. But that's trust. That's experience with people sometimes too, because you have to understand how they work, how they operate.
Correct.
It's time. I think time allows vulnerability, because you're like, oh, okay, time breeds trust, in people. So I feel like all those elements kind of have to line up for me. And I have to want to, I have to want to.
That part.
I think I have to want to too, because I have a lot of people that I love and I trust, but they don't know that side of me. I don't want to, there's still a level of, I do still protect and preserve myself, because it's just, I feel like that's very intimate, to show yourself to somebody is very intimate. And I just feel like it's a form of sex, not like that, but it's a form of intimacy that if I'm not going to share myself, I don't share myself like that with everybody. I feel like not everybody deserves to meet Erica, and not even like in a, I'm better than you type of way. No, you don't deserve to. Not everybody deserves to meet me.
Period. I mean, you said it so well. There's really no need for me to repeat that, because I feel the same exact way, from the coupling of it being feelings, time, trust. Yeah, most people don't know me. Like, They know what I'm willing
Just
to put on
surface.
Front Street. And it's not that I'm being fake, but there's
No.
levels to this thing. There is a
Mhm.
reservation because,
Mhm.
you know, all the way up in here, it's really tender. Would you ever just hand your newborn off to a stranger and be like, mommy's going to lunch? Like, nah,
Yeah.
you know, I need to know.
So
You
I
know?
heard Devon Franklin say it really, really good. He said, would you give a stranger your password to your cell phone? And he was like, you wouldn't.
Right.
Because, you know, your bank codes are in there, your text messages, everything's in your phone, right? You can have nude pictures and you can have anything. So why would you give your password to a stranger? And he was like, it's the same way in life. There's certain things you hold for yourself. There's certain things that not everybody should see. And he was talking about sex though, but not everybody should have you.
Yeah.
Because it's just, there's certain things that are private. There's certain things that are sacred. And, you know, that's same with our vulnerability. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be vulnerable, but to bring that to every table, I don't, not me yet.
No.
I'm not there yet. No. Ego slaps you up sometimes.
No, me neither. I'm with you, girl, 100%. And even though, like you said, Devon Franklin was talking about sex, that intimacy of vulnerability is still, it's still an intimate thing. So sex, you know, it's like a parallel to that. So I love that. Well, we have our last clip here. And this one is
Bring
about
us
letting
home.
go. Yes. Let me just let this rock out. This is Oshim Phoenix from Redefining Self episode.
I don't need to be guarded because I'm protected.
There you go.
I shed whatever. At the end of the night, I shed everything. Sometimes things affect me and get to me, but I never allow it anymore to change who I am because I work so hard at redefining myself. And I'm learning from the new people in my life. I'm learning a lot of new things because I'm open to it. I trust those people. You know, they have my best interests in mind. So,
Yeah.
I love that. I don't have to be guarded because I'm protected. That was like my favorite line in the whole thing.
That's powerful.
Yes, it's true.
For sure. But you know, when I hear him say that, I like totally believe him because, you know, of course, just hearing his story, knowing how far he's come, I'm like, yeah, you know, I totally believe that. And I can't wait to get to that same space to where things don't penetrate me at all.
Yeah.
You know, when you almost kind of have that resilience layer in front of you that like, no weapon formed against me shall prosper attitude. And it's like, for real. And you walk in that power every day. And I'm working towards that. I mean, I think everything is vibrations, you know, and as long as you're walking in the highest vibration that you can, because you can't walk in the highest vibration every day. That's just probably impossible. But as long as you can reach the highest vibration you can on a daily basis to your capacity, then you should be good and keep striving for that every day and keep striving for better every day. And as you keep building that, I think that thickness, that toughness that he has comes from that work he's been doing and saying like, this is who I am and I trust who I am. I know who I am. I love who I am. I show up who I am every day. And everything you say is just bouncing off me because I am who I am, and it is what it is. And you know, like I said, it's what I strive to be. I just want to show up and just be like, it's me, and this is what you get, suckers. You know, and yeah, I'm working on that right now. I'm working on showing up and be like, yeah, I'm Erica, and what? You know, just so it's dope. I don't know if I'm gonna change the name and stuff, but
I thought about that, but my name is just so dope as it is.
Yeah.
I love my name and what it stands for. And I've thought about it many times because again, that's biblical. When God in the Bible, when he was going to do a new thing in someone's life, he changed their name. So it's extremely spiritual and it's deep. And I've always had that wanting, but I'm not gonna be able to do that because I love Jaimi.
Maybe later. Maybe later in life.
Maybe
you never
later.
know. It
Who
might just come to
knows?
you. It might just come to you.
Who knows,
yeah.
right? I'm open to it. So I believe that one of the practices that he shared in getting him there to be able to stand in the fullness of who he is without offense was to let go, doing letting go. And I actually might do a letting go ceremony tonight. Write down what I want to let go, burn it, let it go. But I want to ask you this. How do you differentiate between wisdom and holding on to baggage?
So I think wisdom means that you went through it and you got the lesson. And that when you see it again, you recognize it and you don't do it again, because that's wisdom. That's the knowing part. Wisdom is the knowing. Then there's the other side of that where you're the hamster wheel and you just keep going and going and going. And that's the part where I feel like you really don't know what you're doing. And you're striving to get to that knowing. That's what the hamster wheel is. But yeah, the difference is knowing and not knowing. I think it's as clear, it's as black and white as that. You either know or you don't know. There's literally no gray area. So he knows, and he walks in that knowing every day. And that's why he's able to live the life that he is and be brave and be bold and all of these colorful words that we keep painting. But, someone may like me who maybe I only know some days, and
Right.
some days I wake up not knowing, I'm still in the hamster wheel very much some days and trying to get to my knowing, trying to get to that wisdom.
Yeah. No, that's a very good way to put it. And yeah, I think in the same boat. And the reason why I asked it that way is like, sometimes I think it's also in the way we hold on what has happened to us or what we've gone through. When you're holding it and it feels heavy and it's hindering you, it's baggage. But you want to still be able to look at and acknowledge and see that thing, because that's still where the lesson was. So the lesson feels light, I believe, but the baggage feels heavy. And I just wanted to, just touch on that, just because, it could be both sides of the coin. It could be a little confusing sometimes, but like, you don't have to hold on to that thing where it's affecting you negatively, but you can hold on to what you learned from it.
So your bags, and something that I'm learning right now too, your baggage is only as heavy as you want it to be.
Yeah.
You can unpack, you can let go of some things. And, unfortunately for me, I wanted to be a hoarder and carry all my bags.
You think it's keeping you safe? You're like, I want to make sure to see all this. I want to see nothing.
That teddy bear from when I was 4. I'm so
I need it. Yeah.
I need it. When really, I don't need that teddy bear anymore. I have other things going on. So for me, what I recognized in the last, year and a half since I've been doing shadow work was all of the baggage I was carrying and didn't even know I was carrying it. And then I was just like, wow, no wonder I feel so heavy. No wonder
I'm tired.
I can't decipher. And no wonder I can't hear spirit when they're talking to me, because I'm so clouded with all this crap. No wonder when, I get these epiphanies, I miss the sign because I'm clouded on other stuff that isn't even, it's not even meant for me in that space. And it's just like, I was blocking so many of my blessings because of all of my baggage that I just didn't want to let go of.
Jeez.
That's in my comfort zone, right? My baggage was comfortable, and all of this weight I was carrying was comfortable for me because it was my stuff, and I didn't want to let it go because I didn't want to face a lot of it too.
Right.
And I feel like when you do that work, when you do that and you let go of it, like he said, nothing can penetrate him because he's opened all his suitcases and he's opened every little piece, and he's like, oh, okay, I've faced every little piece in here. So when I show up to your door with all these luggages, you can't talk shit about what's in my bag, 'cause I already know what's inside of there. Whereas people like us, we show up with our baggage and we might not even know what's inside. And we're scared about opening it because we're scared what might pop out.
Right. Is that a roach?
Is that a vibrator? Like, what's gonna pop out of that thing? I don't know about that suitcase. You know, there might be some things in there people don't want to see. So that was what it is definitely for me, opening my bags. I wanted to open them by myself. I didn't want anybody to open them with me. I want to open them by myself, and that's the journey that I'm on right now. I'm opening my suitcases one by one, going through it, understanding why I even put it in my bag in the first place.
Right.
And then doing that work, that burning ceremony, ritual work, whatever, to take it out and let it go and let it die.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Well, we got in here and talked some good things today. It was nice just to catch up with you and have a little.
I'm glad I made it in, girl, because the devil was a lie in the beginning. I was like, oh, Jaimi, I might not make it, girl.
I know, and I just probably would have had to recap and been like, okay, well, great show, guys. Get me out of here. I wasn't ready.
Oh my God, I wasn't ready either. Oh my God.
No, but it's all good. Thank you so much for coming through and dropping knowledge. And I love, again, I always say this, but just being able to see you on this journey, like, you know, it's not like there was anything wrong with you before, but I see it.
Oshim talking about me.
He did. I was like, my girl's in there.
On the King Speak. Yes. No,
I'm so proud of you.
Honestly, I love it though. I love when people can say, like, I see the change, because, you know, sometimes when you're in it, you don't see your own self.
Oh, yeah.
You can't see your own self. So you actually have to base it off of like other people's opinions. So like when I hear you say it, even my mom gave me props this week, and my mom was like, oh my God, I see such a change in you. And I was like, oh my God. Like,
the work is working.
This is like some like real stuff, because everybody's like a change is happening. And I'm like, I don't necessarily see it, but I feel lighter. I feel happier, and I can literally look back at myself and realize, like, oh, I was in it like a fog, like a thick fog. But I couldn't even recognize that either. Like when you're in it, you can't see. Correct. And so that's why your tribe is so important to you. Like, I wish that like I had some friends, but I was going through it by myself, so nobody knew. Like, but I wish I had somebody that could have been like, you're not yourself. You're not being yourself.
Right. And that takes time.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, but it's all good. I'm back better, and everything happens in its own timing, and, you know, just working myself back. Grateful to this. This is therapeutic for me. Grateful to the Rebel Camp and all the work we do in there. Even though I did do the 8-week program, I'm still inside the academy, so I still do like little things. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, good.
Self-development all year long.
There you go. I'm with you, girl. Like, whatever it takes, I'm here for it. I love it. It's worth it. So
power of posture, right?
Power of posture. Check it out. I'm gonna have to do something with that. I'm thinking of, you know, sharing a lot between now and all through February. But then in March, doing, you know, every week, going through each module.
Women's Month, right? Women's Appreciation Month in March.
Is it? Oh, see, now I'm going to have to, my intuition was right. It's going to have to be on March 1st.
Yeah, March is like Women's Appreciation Month or something like that.
I love it. Yeah, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to add a live, you know, component to it. So that way people feel immersed in it. So yeah, I'm excited. So y'all follow me at Jaimi Alexander and check out the Power of Posture, King Speak, Queens Glean, and what they got with you, Cookie. Let them know.
Yeah, so this is my handle right here on all my social media. I have a new podcast called Loving Good Music. I'm working on a second episode right now. I only have one right now, so you guys go see the one, but working it out, you know, just building it up little by little. And can't wait to see where it takes me. If it touches a couple of people, like Oshim said, if it touches one person, then you've done your work. So I'm just grateful to have my voice again, and, you know, clearing my throat chakra and just saying the things that I've always wanted to say, showing up as my authentic self every day. And people received it well. So I was like, okay, maybe I can be Erica.
Yeah.
Maybe y'all ready to see Erica.
Right. I love it. Well, girl, that is so awesome. I'm so proud of you. And again, thanks for being here today. And you know what it is, y'all. Same time, same place next week. I forgot the guests what we have. But it doesn't matter. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be a good show. I would just show up.
Yeah, just be here. And y'all have a good rest of your night.
Yeah.
Peace.